Viewers, you are welcome to our Monday edition of Between the Lines. Between the Lines today, the 15th of April, 2024. My name is Mark Godwin Iweajunwa, and I'm here to do what I do with my colleagues and friends, brothers from different parts of the world. In faraway Lagos, Nigeria, is our man, Ogbeni Olayinka Raji. Ogbeni Olayinka Raji, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, globally. Welcome to our Monday. Yes, globally.
Yes, globally. I like that phrase, globally, because we are actually broadcasting globally, and we also have our coordinators globally. You are in Lagos, Nigeria, and in faraway Toronto, Canada, is also the man, George Chukwu. George, how are you? George, we can't hear you. Come on, put that thing right. In close to me here, UK, London, is our diva, Fiona Akanu. Fiona, how are you beaming with smiles?
Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Welcome to all our viewers across the world.
Welcome,
Good evening, Fiona.
you too.
Good evening,
Also in Istanbul, Turkey, is our diva again, Yema Benson. Yema Benson, you're welcome.
So much.
You are
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Good.
For having me.
Let's see if George is back. George, let's hear your voice. George, we need to get the audio there. Anyway, George, fix that. We know you can do that. Gentlemen, it's a beautiful Monday here in Milan. It's evening, and I know you guys are all keeping well. So, but there are situations around the world that is not doing too fine. Planet Earth is bleeding because a lot of troubles will arise all of a sudden. Now we're talking about what does happen in Australia. If you're all following, right there in Australia during the weekend, a young man, 40-year-old Joel Kaachi, fatally stabbed 6 people, injured almost 12 more in a violent rampage in the busy city of Sydney. Sydney experienced something they've never seen before. This man went on a rampage, killing, talking people right there in a shopping center. I'm trying to see if we can get the video. It's so sad, so sad. Let me start with you, Fiona. Waking up Saturday morning and hearing that there was that kind of rampage, you know, in a busy supermarket, in a busy center of activity. Fiona?
Yes. So, of course, you know, our condolences here at SSM to go to all the victims and their families, of course. It's another sad indictment of what happens when mental health issues are not being supported and followed up in the way that they need to be. I understand that the assailant was a paranoid schizophrenic. That's what I understand. And he just, that was what he took to the streets and decided to do that day. I know he had just moved into the area recently, I think the last month or so. But I think, you know, obviously there has to be medication, but the important thing is that people who are vulnerable in this way, they need to really be supported by the services, the community that they're in, you know, provide. So it's a very, very sad thing, because I know there's a young baby who's been left without a mother. You know, so it's absolutely heartbreaking, and it's the sort of thing that you say, oh, could this have been avoided? You know, if there's so many ifs in the story. So, you know, it's just a heartbreaking tale, to be honest. And as I said, our condolences go out to, you know, everybody that's been affected by this. You know, even the lady that shot the assailant. You know, this must have been a very traumatic event for her as well, because obviously he lunged forward to attack her. So, you know, so many people have been impacted by this, and I think it brings mental health issues really to the fore of everybody's mind.
Mental health issue. But let's hear George. George has come on. George, you're welcome to Between the Lines. Okay. Yes.
I can hear him.
Mental health issue. Fiona, thank you for that beautiful summary of the event. coupled with some other things, some crazy things we're hearing too. The young man they found out he has been in some of these explicit sites where he was soliciting for people to watch him do some real crazy thing. So plus the mental health issue, plus him acting very crazy. Raji, how did you guys hear that from Nigeria? Rampage in Sydney, Australia.
Nigeria has its own problems. So cases like that seem strange to us. That somebody would just, with all the way of life, all the ease of life that they have there, if they were in Nigeria, I don't think they will have that kind of mental health issue. Because the tedium of earning a living, of staying alive in this country, will not give you the chance to have any mental issues. It's unfortunate that thing happened. It's very, very unfortunate. And as Fiona has said, our condolences go to all those who have been impacted by the unfortunate incident. I don't know whether he was not sufficiently tracked so that they could track him and keep a leash on him. But then it happened. It happened. In Nigeria, we are dealing with too many things for us to even have time for us to misbehave to each other. So,
but we know it happens. Sometimes you have such things also in Africa, in Nigeria, in Lagos. I mean, somebody goes on rampage in the public, chasing everybody. I mean, I've experienced that too. George, yes, how are you? Can you hear us now?
We can hear him.
George, we can hear you. Okay, anyway, yes, our diva, Ian Benson. Turkey once in a while experience such bizarre acts from people once in a while. I remember also in the past. Now, how did you copy that from Australia, from Sydney?
I'll say it's very rare here compared to the other side of the world. I think in Turkey, the fact that they're not liberal, I would say that they're very liberal. You can live your life, do whatever you want. It's not like that here. So you're forced to talk to yourself and don't act out of place. So it's more like that. I would say psychopaths are roaming around that part of the world. I would say it's different here. It's very different here.
Oh, such a handsome young man.
It is.
It's a waste of life. Waste of
all of them with all manner of demons to deal with.
Very
it's
sad.
I think they're liberal there, so that's what gives them the impetus to go about doing that. But people are not liberal here, so we don't do that here easily.
So viewers, that's the young man there. Those of you watching, Joel Kachi, 40-year-old man, went on the street, stabbed 6 people, killed 6 people, injured many more, little babies, everybody running for their life in a violent rampage in busy Sydney town shopping center Saturday afternoon. One thing they said, guys, is he's obsessed with knives. Pictures come out of him holding knives, playing with knives and all that. So I think there are these people like that. There are people that are obsessed with knives, with cutting objects. Remember the young lady that also had similar thing in Nigeria one time, the young lady that killed his boyfriend, one Chidinma something. The story was she was so obsessed with knife, and when we went through some of her clips, we saw her playing with knives at many points in time. So people could be obsessed with knives. Fiona, what do you know about obsession? I mean, I know people get obsessed with food, some people are obsessed with clothing, but kind of knife is crazy.
Yeah, I think obsession with anything is not good, regardless of what it is. So obviously, a knife you could potentially harm somebody else, and if it's food or whatever, you could harm yourself. So I think any obsession, absolutely 100%, is never going to be a good thing. And of course, if you have somebody that has a mental health issue, which I don't think it's so much about them being liberal, but I think he does have a mental health issue as well, compounded with this fixation, because it's a fixation, isn't it? So compounded with this fixation with the knives, these are the sort of, because we've heard of things like this before, where people have a fixation with something and it's almost like they have to take it to the extreme extent to keep getting their highs. So that's really what I think has happened in this case, which is very sad and very unfortunate for the people who have lost their lives.
Yeah,
Very sad.
just
George.
like one guy who was so obsessed with guns, was so obsessed with guns that he took an AR-47 one day and decided to go hunting. And was going to hunting humans.
I mean,
shooting people for windows and things.
Yes, a lot of Americans are.
He just went. Yes,
that part of the world, their own obsession is guns. Oh, it's
guns.
sad.
All manner of guns.
But let's go on,
rifles.
guys. Let's go on to other stories making round. Like we said, the world is bleeding. So many things. Now I want us to weigh into what's happening with Israel and the new enemy. It's no more Israel and Hamas. It's now Israel and Iran. Iran is yesterday, like you all probably would have been following up. Israel had to. Now they are trying to weigh into the response of what will happen, what they will do after Iran fired missiles barrage. 300 of it. Israel military said 90% of those 300 missiles were intercepted by Israel and some countries, some partner countries also. But now Israel is saying they are looking at what to do, how to retaliate. But the world leaders are begging for everybody to temper peace with. Let's put a hold here. I wish George could speak. George, can you hear me? Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yes.
Go ahead, George. Let's start with this.
At last.
Well, okay, at last, yeah. But anyway, listen, one of the major problems, I'm gonna scale back for a second, on the previous topic that we had regarding the young man that went at 40 years old that went and started killing people with knives and all that kind of stuff. One of the problems we have is we have redefined a whole lot of psychological issues because we are afraid of tagging things the way they're supposed to be. And therefore, we give it an alternative explanation because we don't want to, hurt people. People's skin are so thin these days. These things that we are talking about, somebody who is schizophrenia, something, like they have who is that person talking to them in their mind? This is demonic possession. Call it what it is. Because we run away from all of this, and then all of a sudden, in our country, when people go like that, they go to the streets, they get naked, they become mad people, and people avoid them. But here, they give them alternative definition of psychological definition that will not harm anybody. These people are sick in the head, just like somebody will have cancer. You rush them to the hospital and want to treat them. Mental health issue is a very serious issue that needs to be attended to because there is a psychosomatic effect when people are thinking wrong. Their body will reflect in that way too. So these are people that can, if we discover them, the law ought to take care of it. But because of being scared of, tagging people or whatever, they say, oh, he's not done anything wrong. Let's leave him alone until, something like this happens. And then they begin to, go ahead and, do whatever they want to do. But when it comes to Hamas and what happened with Iran, like we were discussing, you see, there are so many aspects of this particular situation regarding Iran and Israel. Number one, we know what happened on October 7th. That brought about the Gaza issue that we're still dealing with right now. Now, Israel went and bombed Iranian embassy somewhere and killing some of their people. So for them to be quiet, it will look like they are weak. So they had to respond. Now, when you look at this whole entire thing now, they had to appeal to U.S. and tell them what they are supposed to do. which actually help US and UK and other allied nations to Israel to get ready. And that's the reason why there wasn't so much catastrophe or many destructions in that place. But to me, I know that Benjamin Netanyahu, because of his legal issues that he's having, might want to go ahead because they have been looking for opportunity to destroy the nuclear sites that Iran has, and because of the being afraid, because Iran wants to annihilate them. So this is what is really going on right now. I know they put about 350 missiles and all that kind of stuff. Many of them were stopped by Jordan. Many of them were stopped by Jordan, many by UK, and many by USA. So only maybe a few that landed. But we need to be careful because this is not a laughing matter. Anything, if this war escalates, the whole entire world will be affected. We are such a global village right now, and something that happens in one part of the world, economically and financially, will affect everybody else. So we're seeking for dialogue to stop all these messes that are happening around the world. The world is already in a dire state as it is. We don't need any more escalation.
We don't need any more escalation. George came strong on this one. George, thank you. But before we go on with more stronger views, let's welcome our man, Godwin eBay. Dr. Godwin, how are you? It's midnight. It's night there in Russia. How are you this evening?
Yes, it's night, close to midnight, past 10. Well, I'm fine, thank you. Good evening, Legends. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Ready to
yes,
contribute.
I know you're ready. You're always ready, Dr. Ibe. Okay. Let's go to the ladies. Fiona, one thing we're hearing this evening is the Jordan foreign minister says that Israel is using this to take away the attention of the war in Gaza and what they've been telling Benjamin Netanyahu to stop and give passage for food to go into Gaza. Now, is it true? Is that what you think it is? Or is it that of a truth, Israel is at war with Iran? And we all know how it all began. I mean, the embassy bombing, killing of some commanders, their families and all that. And now this is happening. Fiona, what are you copying on this?
All I'm going to say is that when there is an argument, a quarrel, or a war, everybody has their own version of what is right and what is wrong. For me, my main concern is the humanitarian effect and the economic effect on all of us. That's my major concern. When big people are playing like this and you don't really understand, well, you have a general understanding of the reasons behind it. As a pacifist, I tend to just be concerned about lives just being wasted for absolutely no reason at all. That's my major concern. So that's all I have to say on the topic. You know, I don't talk about this sort of thing.
Okay, you want to keep the safe line. You want to okay, Yema, how is Turkey seeing all of this? I mean, the background story for some of our viewers, if you're following, it started with the Houthis, the Houthi rebel. Information got to Israel that they were being backed up by Iran government and Iran, whatever. And in retaliation, Israel went and slammed on the Iran embassy, killing some senior people there with their families. And all of this is now, it's brewing up, everything keep brewing. Now we have Iran sending 300 missiles. Boom, 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 boom. The whole place was sparkling like you sparkling wine. So, Yema, how is Turkey seeing all of this? Barrage of missiles. We hope it didn't come close to you guys, too.
Not at all. Turkey is, I say, they're always in solidarity with their Islamic fellows. They are always really affected. So I know when this the Gaza and the Israelis thing happened, I know how affected they were. It even affected their elections, I guess. As much as I don't really like talking about wars and crimes and all that, war is a big money. It brings money for countries, I would say. But yes, it really affected Turkey and their lifestyle. And they've been sending aid as well. and then they were threatening. I think Erdogan was threatening to also help in the fight with Gaza and all that. But the people were like against it here. They were protesting against it that they should take it more on a peace level. So yes, it has really affected Turkey.
Okay.
Really.
Reggie, yes,
Yes.
I saw some of your views in the platform. So I
Yes.
know, yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
You know, I just saw an interview that was held with Cameron, and he was asked a simple question: Should any power attack your embassy anywhere in the world, what will be your reaction? And he said they will react with appropriate measures. That they will react with because it is unthinkable that you could put aside all diplomatic niceties to be bombing somebody's embassy in a foreign land. It is not. It is not right. It's not right. As has been said, it's all diversion and distraction from the main issues that Netanyahu is facing at home, and he can't be looking for war all over the world because he's not at peace at home. It should be caught. It should be put on a leash and stop from all this brigandage.
Brigandage. Stop all this Yes, Godwin. I saw you were also putting on your views from the day it happened, and you have what you want to say. Yes, the bombing of the Iranian embassy in Syria was taking it too far, and they said some of the people that were killed were innocent people that were there to give aid to the hungry. And Israel bombed that embassy, killed many people. That was breaking international law. Yes. But Israel said they have their reasons. Godwin, let's hear you.
Well, it's not just violation of international law, it's violation of diplomatic protocol, especially the Vienna Convention. It's clear that an attack on an embassy is an attack on home soil. It's mutually agreed by every single side. So an attack on an embassy is an attack in Iran. And so it's an invasion of Iran. We know, we want to repeat, I don't want to repeat the things that have already been said about Netanyahu having local domestic problems. But one thing we can notice is that all animals are not equal. So if they peradventure are, some are more equal than others, because we saw the reaction of when the Iranian embassy was bombed, the reaction especially of the West. And many were like, oh, we don't know, we've not been informed, or, we stand with, not even we stand with Israel, we're trying to get our hands on it, we've not been informed. That was the predominant response, or just silence. But when Iran has responded, we condemn, we stand with Israel, we do the whole that. So really, all animals are not equal. But we are not saying that all animals should be equal. I mean, we understand well that people have allies and people have enemies. We understand that, but it goes contrary to the same rule-based order which is preached by the West, and that their principle is based on principle of humanity. Now, it cannot be based on humanity, because this shows that it's either you are with us or you are against us. That's the major principle. Either you are with us or you are against us. And that if you're against us, then all lives cannot have the same value. And that is what we are seeing in Gaza. That is what we are seeing in Iran. And it's just like, I'm not saying that all animals should be equal, because I know it cannot be. But yeah, it is a paradox, a contradiction in these principles. Also, we talk about the effect on the globe. This is number one, oil prices. Iran is an oil producing nation. By causing a war, you are affecting them. You're also affecting air transport in all neighboring countries that close their airspace. Number three, you're affecting sea route logistics. Iran can close the Strait of Hormuz anytime they want, and they can obviously hijack ships, like they've taken over Israel's ship in the sea. These are major damages to trade routes in the international shipping route. So it's a very stupid thing to be playing this kind of games. I remember the US warned Israel about this influence it could have on energy prices around the world, but obviously they didn't heed. Ukraine, they also warned Ukraine, don't attack Russian refineries because of the effect on energy prices. They also didn't heed. And basically, the cost of maintaining the war. Israel cannot maintain the war. Israel definitely requires allies. But people say, okay, well, if they have allies, everything is fine. It's not true. The allies that Israel are involved in so many war theaters around the world.
Thank you very much.
The US is able to just your last sentence.
Yes.
The US
thank you. Let's move on. Let's move on, Godwin. Let's move on. Thank you. America has boldly said they will not participate in any offensive action against Iran. And they stated that clear this morning. So let's run with that. Let's go on, guys. Let's go on with other stories. Our time is not much, as you know. Before we go to this other story, I want us to do something. We rarely have good news come out of our country. You all know. So when we get one, we want to highlight it and run with it so that we begin to look good also on the international plane. Two major figures have sprung up. Two ladies have sprung up in our country, around here in Europe and in America. Number one, we forgot to talk about her last time. Is a young girl called, that's her photo there. This young girl is called Princess Oluchukwu Owuwa. She became the first Nigerian female officer cadet to graduate from the Royal Military Academy, Sandos. We all know where Sandos is. So now she is a senior officer in the military. She is going back to Nigeria to serve, and she will be a very, very prominent figure in our military strategy and everything. So that's Princess Oluchukwu.
Is it Oluchukwu?
Oluchukwu. Yes, Oluchukwu.
Oluchukwu. Yes, that's right. You're pronouncing it like a Yoruba person.
Oluchukwu.
Oluchukwu. No, it's Oluchukwu.
Oluchukwu. Good.
That is the work of God.
Work of God. Yes. John, tell us, what do you know about her? What do you want to say?
Well, I just wanted to congratulate her. You know, I mean, there are many good things coming out of Africa, from Nigeria, per se. You know, this is one of them. And then we congratulate her. We are proud of her. And I hope she will continue to do us proud. Basically, that's it.
That's it. That's it, George. Thank you. Anybody want to say anything? Iema, you want to congratulate your fellow lady? Yeah. Right.
Doesn't have to be. Yeah, of course. I'm proud of her that she's Nigerian and that she's a lady, but it doesn't have to really be. The important thing that she's a Nigerian. That's number one thing, and that she's African. And at least this will be about one of the good things that they will talk about in Nigerian, being Nigerian. So she's really showing the power of Nigerian outside of Nigeria. I'm proud of her.
Wow. Nice. Fiona, you have anything to say?
Yeah, just congratulations to her. And I think I echo what Nyema said, that it's not really about her being a woman or whatever. It's more about the fact that she's a Nigerian, really, to be honest. As you know, I'm a proud Nigerian. I will always be a proud Nigerian, regardless of anything. So I'm absolutely delighted about this news.
Thank you. Godwin.
Yeah, she's done wonderfully well. In fact, people like her make me want to see more of these in places like Russia. Want to see more Nigerians in high military positions, high positions of power. And as I speak to many Russians here, I said I would like to see Russians in Nigeria corridors of power in Nigeria, and I would like to see Nigerians in corridors of power in Russia. I think those this kind of achievements in the United Kingdom make me want to tell Russians that we can also do this.
Yes, we can also do this. Before we go to the other one, Raji, do you have anything to say? Because we have another lady, Aluko.
I just did all what my colleagues have said. Yes.
Okay, good. Annie Aluko is the other lady that has done impressive work. We celebrate with them. Annie has a stake in a football club here in Italy, FC Como Women Club. here in Como, north of Italy. Eni has bought shares. They are big shares. She used to play. She used to play back in the day. She played for quite some clubs in the United Kingdom, Buckingham City, Chelsea, women clubs, St. Louis, Atlantico in Spain, Sky Blue FC, Buckingham City. So, but now Eni is not a footballer, but a businesswoman, and a big one, not a small one, a very big one. Impressive move. So that's Eni Aluko. Eni Aluko was born in Lagos, Nigeria, 1987, and a former professional footballer, and now a businesswoman in Europe. Business. Her stake is in Europe. You know. So
that's great.
who wants to say anything about Eni? That's the second one. Eni. Viewers looking at the screen, that's Eni there. Anybody want to say anything?
I understand she's also very well read, probably a PhD holder. Yes, if I'm not wrong, I understand she's also well read.
Well, I don't
congratulations to her. Yes,
congratulations
I don't know about that.
And I also like to say that this should be like, should I say, a miles for parents in Nigeria to really give way to allow their female children to just explore. I know it's changing, the narrative is changing, but I want more of it. Like, a woman can be anything they want to be. They should just allow them to explore and not just confine them to the corridor of something, like the corridor of I don't know. With women should explore as well. I just think this is a nice one.
Nice one. Thank you. George, go ahead.
Women are exploring, based on the way things used to be. When we see, women, especially from our country, achieving great things like this, it helps us to look from the corridors of Nigeria also to see the achievements they're doing outside. Like the book, Yema's book says, he's talking about being Nigeria in diaspora. So when we see diasporans, coming out and doing great things, it will encourage the women in Nigeria to let them know what a man can do. According to Raji, women can do better. So I am so happy. Raji,
I would like to talk about the opportunity given to women in Nigeria. I think it's not the same that is given in diaspora. That's my position.
That's the reason why I'm saying that it makes sense when they go outside and achieve greatness like that, and we have to echo it in order to let the people who are the patriarchs of Nigeria, that women can also do great things and the opportunity can be given to them, and they can be just as great as any man can be. That's what I'm saying.
They can be. Anyway, guys, we have to do this because, like you all know, it's all sad news most times coming out of our place. But with news like this, you keep people, we make them know that, yes, there's something good coming out of Israel, coming out of everywhere.
My Godwin. Yes. A perfect example is Fiona and Nyema. Look at look what they're doing in diaspora, doing great things, and they are among us here. Don't you see that whenever it's only men, it's a little dark, but when they show up, light shows up, and everybody rejoices because of that. So this is the reason why I'm echoing these women. They are doing great things.
I wish I was allowed to sing. I was just saying, the man.
Believe me, George. They are going further. It's going to be a big boom soon. With what they are doing, what we're doing here. Watch, you guys. All right, guys. Let's go to a break. Yes, Godwin, go ahead. Godwin, go ahead.
Yes, I say it's very fantastic, giving women opportunities, more privileges, or even opportunities, and we'll see these kind of results. But for those who are thinking that all women are going to go into this kind of fields, it actually won't happen. Because in the empirical data shows that in the more egalitarian a society is, women tend to prefer motherhood, family, and things that help to increase both success of family and child upbringing and all of that. It's actually a scarcity of opportunities that pushes women to go into masculine roles and all of that. So I think freedom is actually good because women will actually choose the right thing, and that is femininity, which is important for child upbringing and family support.
Hold on. Masculine roles? I mean, who defines the boundaries? You know, a woman can be a prime minister, a woman can be a president, a woman, they have done it around the world and they're doing great. A woman can be a commander in the military.
Let me explain what I mean. I think it didn't come out.
It's not a matter of defining boundaries.
No.
It's not. Yeah, it's not about. No, let me explain. You don't understand.
They are clearly.
So yeah, let me explain what I mean. There's no particular limit to what a woman can do or what a man can do in terms of where they can go or where they cannot go. But there are some jobs that are predominantly focused on strength. Strength is the focus, physical strength, not mental strength, emotional strength, and all of that. Or some responsibilities that are traditionally for men, like being in the war front. We wouldn't want women to be, predominantly be at the war front. We want women, men, we want to be women. Women want to be. We want to protect, to be at the forefront, to be at the battleground. We don't want women taking the good shots for us. We believe that we have to protect and to provide. So there are jobs that are for men, that are predominant, where the focus is strength. And there are also some jobs that are for women, where it has to do with child upbringing, nurturing, pregnancy, antenatal, prenatal, any social construction that tries to say there's no difference between man and woman is false, and that's the thing we reject. But at the same time, I want to give everybody equal opportunities without denying the fact that there are biological difference between men and women.
All right, guys.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Great.
Thank you. Between the Lines, viewers, Between the Lines is our Monday starter, news starter, and you are tuned into SSM Monday Between the Lines. SSM, like you know, is a diaspora leading English network. It's for both home and abroad, Nigerians, both home and abroad. And this is one of the most respected, trusted source for your updates. So stay tuned with us, Between the Lines. Sir George and Raji and Godwin, let's come now to some other news that looks like sounds like good news, and that is that the Nigerian inflation rate has hit 33.20 as the Naira rebound. The Naira is rebounding, guys. Are you following up? The Naira has come up. Price of food and basic commodities have gone through some stage now. As the country continues to battle with very tough economic crisis, but the Naira is coming up, inflation is jumping back. As at March, it was 33.20, but this time it's going to 33. As at March, it was 31.70. Now we're hitting 33.20. Raji, what do you have on that? Tell us.
Yes. See, it's all cosmetics. What was the Naira before they tried to drown it? And now that they tried to drown it and the Naira refused to drown, they are now saying that they are saving the Naira. The Naira was less than 700 before it went to almost got to 2,000. So what's the jubilation? Prices of food items have gone up and they are not coming down. The mistake the government made was in allowing the Naira to have gone so low as to affect all prices. Now it is difficult. It is easy for prices to go up. It is very difficult for them to come down. We are still buying food at more than 3 times the cost that we are buying it when Naira was 700. We are still buying it. Even if the Naira now has come down to less than 1,000, but the food prices are still up. So just deception, just cosmetics. There's nothing improving. There's nothing
George,
until a bucket of until a paint bucket of Gary comes down to 700 that it was before the Naira went haywire. I'm not saying anything about whether the Naira is coming up or the Naira is going down.
But George, looking at the movement, Raraji, looking at the movement, I saw that in March of 2024, last month, inflation rate showed an increase. I think it was like an increase of 1.50% point compared to February. Now, it was going in that way, fluctuating, but now it's coming down. And like I said, now it has hit about 30.20% as the Naira seems to show. George, what do you say? Is it deception or is it real?
Well, I really, there are ideal situations and there are real situations. The ideal situation is what we are facing right now. After Naira nearly went belly up, and then all of a sudden they put in some things that they put together, and then the value of Naira is coming down internationally and is gaining some strength. But the fact is there ought to be also internal control. Internal control is the influence of the government, that when this the Naira is coming down like it is, the value of Naira is rising, that they have to make make some kind of concession locally to ensure that the way that it's going up and vacillating when it was weakening, that the prices will come down to affect people. But what you see, people are afraid. That's one thing you have to understand. When a currency is so volatile, you don't know when it's going to go up and when it's going to come down. Even when it's gaining weight like what it is, gaining value right now, people are still afraid. But you can't tell somebody, okay, well, Naira is coming, therefore reduce your Gary 1 cup, for 5 Naira, reduce it 5 Naira. Because the point is, even the people they're buying from are still selling at a higher price. When they retail, they have to retail to make money, to get a profit. So what I'm saying is, it is good that internationally our money is gaining strength and the value is increasing. Eventually, it will come to the point whereby, hopefully the government might be able to, do something internally to reduce the prices of food, especially food products. Because a lot of people that are, importing goods, they imported goods mostly because, when the Naira was very weak. And you wouldn't expect them now that Naira is falling to, when it comes down and they want to sell at a lower price, they're going to lose money. And that is one of the major issues we have with a volatile economy, a volatile currency like Nigeria. So we got to be careful that when we're doing what with one right hand, we're going to do with the left hand to make sure that the effects is going to be cushioned, locally in our economy in Nigeria.
George, you sound like you walk in Wall Street. Do you walk the Wall Street? I mean, you just broke this down so well. Anybody has anything to say? I thought it's good news. Go ahead.
Of course, good news. What's good news?
I mean, the slight change from what was very abnormal. I mean, should be good news, even if it's
Look. Let me tell you something. Naira rebound is bad for export. Yes, it's bad for export in terms of if you're export-oriented economy, you have less money to balance your budget. I'll give you an example. When the Russia and Ukraine special military operation began, Russia ruble basically fell very drastically, was almost getting to 150, 200. And the government did everything to raise the value, and the rubles fell, and all of a sudden it was trading so low, like even to the pre-invasion level. Everyone was some people were happy, some people were scared, but at the same time the government understood that, well, it's not going to balance the budget, and began to take measures to weaken the rubles to a range that is optimal for balancing the budget. These are the things that we economists in the country, policymakers, have to understand. The optimum range for balancing the budget. That's number one. Number two, we should be able to identify what is strategic goods and services. In Russia, for example, during coronavirus, during lockdown, during special thing, imagine you're selling salt and then you add the price of salt in 40%. You know, so many government agencies will come to you, the company's office, and try to find something to hold you, if it's not your tax that you forgot to pay or something. I mean, because you are playing with a strategic good, and your greed will be punished by the public, punished by the government. Everybody will go against you, basically. That is why when you see something happens in Russia, maybe any catastrophe, the companies go out of their way to show their stance. Like if it's canceling debts, if it's showing support, to show that, look, we understand how important this is to the public, and we cannot be neutral or pretend like we don't care. The government should be able to identify strategic goods and services where the profit margin cannot be more than 10%. Because if the profit margin is more than 10%, it's strategically terrible for the whole country. And then you put a price ceiling for that, or you punish companies that put profit above the welfare of the strategic interests of the country. And then also, just one last thing, the gainfully employment. If more people are gainfully employed, it doesn't really matter the price of one thing, because everybody will charge the same price for their services, and it will have an upward pull on salary. Because you cannot hire anybody, you cannot, there's no labor you can afford at a cheap rate if everybody is gainfully employed. So we should work more on factors of production rather than worrying about exchange rates. We should work more exporting and producing the things we need locally, and that will strengthen our economy and prevent us from shocks of inflation and the rest.
Prevent us from shock of inflation and the rest. Now let's just stay on this Naira issue. The act of spraying money, gentlemen, in parties have long been a popular tradition in Nigeria. It has been like a lively icebreaker at gatherings, at social events. Nigerians love it, you know, spray money, shower themselves with cash, and money will be everywhere on the ground. But now, however, law enforcement agencies have intensified their crackdown on individuals and engage in this practice. Gentlemen, let's talk about this. Now enters this Nigerian transgender celebrity called Bobrisky. I don't know how you call his name. Bobrisky. Yes, Bobrisky has been held for Naira abuse, spraying Naira and all that, and tampering with our Naira currency. Now it's an issue. So let's look at it from both sides. Let me start with you, Fiona. Is Bobrisky just a scapegoat for the EFCC when we know everybody is doing this in Nigeria? Spraying Naira, using Naira anyhow, abusing our Naira. Fiona?
I believe that the act and practice of spraying money is something that is synonymous with Nigerians. Even if you look at anything on social media, you know, once anybody's shown spraying, they start making references to Nigeria. I think that in this particular case, I feel that this appears to be something of a sort of witch hunt. And I don't believe that the underpinning reason for her arrest, imprisonment, etc. That's how she refers to herself.
No, she actually said in court, I'm a man.
But she refers to herself. The person refers to himself as a her. So I'm just going with what the person says. I think that what this is more about is about the pushback against the LGBTQ agenda. I think that's really the thing that's really underpinning it. But for Western, what will I say, Western lenses, I don't think the narrative that Nigeria wants to go with at the moment is to be doing anything that goes against LGBTQ. So I think that this is just all a way to kind of scapegoat. I'm not now. I am totally in agreement. If they came out and said that's what they were doing, I can align with that, because if that's the laws of the land, I'm quite happy. Whatever the law, we always talk about the fact that we are not Westerners. We're not, we're not from the United. We're not Americans. We are Nigerians. So whatever the law says, as in Russia, as in any other place, whatever the law says of the land, I'm quite happy to accept that. So if they come out and say, listen, actually it's about this, then I'm here for it. I can hear it. But to me, it just seems that we see politicians spraying money all the time. We see everybody spraying money. It's a common practice. I don't know why this, except of course, I'm quite happy to be corrected. If there are other people that have been arrested for doing this, then I'm happy to have that conversation. But until the point that I see that, then I just feel that, yeah, Bobrisky is being made a scapegoat.
Thank you, Fiona. Thank you. You've said so much on this. Thank you. I know it's a little bit delicate topic thing to tread on. I know George was saying how he and all that. Well, the focal point is not just Bobrisky. It's also that if we're going to start this, let's do this to everybody, because everybody is abusing the Naira. I mean, Raji is a Lagos man, and I know Raji doesn't play with his Owambe, and I know what goes down in the Owambe. The Owambe gets,
I don't spray. I don't spray. No,
okay,
I don't
tell
spray.
us. So
Definitely, Bobrisky is not in prison because of spraying. In fact, when I saw the video, I didn't see what he sprayed. I didn't see how he abused the Naira. Now, I didn't even see how that case became an EFCC case. I think he's being he's just being ridiculed because of his lifestyle. And you see, it's all some level of comic relief anyway. When when I don't know even when she was asked about her gender, and she humbly submitted that I am a man.
What did you say?
And then it's so comical. And then the immigration people now said that they had to examine him to be sure which part of the cell they could take. Take him.
I see Irma laughing. I know.
I don't think this is funny in any way, Sha. I think this is dreadful. Really
very
bad.
funny.
Yes. Irma, go ahead.
Yes, it's very funny. I'm not. For me, it's not a delicate issue. Nigeria, we are Africans. We not appreciate being he, she. We don't do that. We know there are two genders, and that's it. There's nothing like he, she. He's a man. That's what he is. He's parading himself as he's a man. So yes, he's a scapegoat, I would say. He's not the first to, and yes, like Mr. Raji said, I didn't see the video where he was praying. He was actually giving him bundles. I saw that video. So he's just a scapegoat to stop the practice of LGBTQ. So it's just a scapegoat.
That's it. So
okay. Can I comment on this? This is so funny.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm laughing because everybody is struggling to know whether to call he or she or whatever the case may be.
I'm not struggling in Russia.
I'm not struggling. No, I'm not struggling.
No. What I'm saying is, because of what he says he is or whatever the case might be. Now, the point about this is this: there was an actress that was first arrested, given sentenced to 6 months, but also given an option to pay 300,000 naira. But that did not happen with Bobrisky. So that is where I see something quite different. But also there are so many things happening in our country that demands, the EFCC's attention to just kind of come to localize themselves, bring themselves so low, to take this to court and all that kind of stuff. When people that are committing serious crimes in Nigeria, people get money from the banks and all terrorist organizations, and they're sitting pretty and nothing is happening, and then we're going to go to people that are spraying money. I'm not saying that we should not do that. But I think this, he's being used as an scapegoat in this particular situation. Why would they give that woman, the actress, option to pay 300,000. But when it comes to him, there is no option. What is really going on? And besides, anyway, like I said before, yes, indeed, if the law demands that we ought to respect our Naira, maybe me and Nima, I'm coming down to Turkey. We're going to design something that we can use. So when people are dancing, we spray into that container that will be huge, like an umbrella like this. That all the money will go in there. It will not touch the ground. Because I can
That's the ballot box.
It's still against the law. It's still against the law.
No. If it's in a container, it's not against the law.
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you what.
Let me finish.
Yeah,
let me finish. No, you see, the point is this. Okay, after the pandemic, we saw that we want to make sure that our money is a little cleaner. Because if it goes into the gutter and comes out, people touch it, they can touch themselves. And the other, you're a doctor, you understand, how diseases can spread. So people stepping upon the money. I can see where they're coming from when it comes to health issues. But there could be also, something that could be used, to spray money so that it will not touch the ground and people can just take it, from there. So that's what I'm saying. Dr. Godwin, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Let's just define things correctly. First of all, this is not a law. This is a policy. It's not a law. It's a policy that is enshrined in the CBN Act of 2027, 2007. So the CBN policy is not enshrined in any constitution whatsoever. That means it can be changed by any new act. And so now, what does that act say? The act says, for the avoidance of doubt, spraying off, dancing, listen to it, dancing, or marching on the Naira or any note, not only Naira, or any note issued by the bank during social occasions or otherwise, however, shall constitute an abuse and defacing of the Naira or any such note, and shall be punishable under subsection 1 of this section. So dancing to it, matching it, or spraying it. Now, this is a stupid policy, if you ask me, because it is our tradition. We should portray. In Russia, we spray rubles as an extension of our culture. We are not defacing it. We are gifting them, and we are happy. And Russians accept our culture. They respect it. They see it. Russians and everyone is happy. We know that it's not an insult. We're not throwing it in the bin or defacing it. We are gifting it. Why are we afraid in Nigeria? In other countries, Nigerian culture is exported. People accept it, and they're in awe. They're in amazement. Absolutely. They like it. They love it. They say, "Wow!" First of all, they see the generosity. They love the generosity, and they also value the manner of approach, the manner of display of this culture. And back at home, we are cannibalizing our own culture. So it's stupidity of the highest order.
When it comes to stepping on the currency, I draw the line at that point. You can't step on the currency. You can't dance on the currency. You can't spray it.
Not dancing on. There's no place where it's saying dancing on. It's dancing.
Stepping on.
Stepping on. Was matching on was mentioned, but dancing to it. So of course, stepping on can be. I mean, why would you want to step on money? It shouldn't. But it can be unintentional because it's on the floor and you are dancing. It can be accidental. It's different when you take a Naira and then.
In some places, it is very obvious that they spray it on the floor and then they
I understand. This should be subject to the court, to investigative bodies to see if there was an intent to deface the value of the Naira. But when there's no such intent by evidence or video, it's only people who are dancing happily, maybe during a marriage, maybe during a baby dedication, then why would you destroy their lives because of that? So I think it's a stupid policy.
Wonderful. However, like you guys have said, the law enforcement agency have now intensified a crackdown on individuals that engage in this. So viewers listening, take note, it's now an offense. And like Godwin said, it's cited in the Violation Act of Section 21 of the third Nigerian CBN Act of 2007. So now it's a crime to do that. So let's move on, guys. Let's move on.
Yeah, but one thing that Godwin did not mention was, thank you so much, Godwin, for because your narratives were very, very sound. But Bob Risky did this in January. according to what I was reading. I don't know if it's correct or not. And the law came in February.
And
then
the law has been there before.
No. It's been there before January
2007, 2007, CBN Act. 2007 CBN Act.
So that means if they have to retroactively go, they have to get all our
arrest a lot of people. A lot of
governors.
A lot of our politicians need to be arrested.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
Everybody
falls in this. Everybody comes under this.
Gentlemen,
let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on, gentlemen. I think Raji is in a good position to tell us what's happening. There's a breaking news this afternoon. Blackout, as the discourse reports, fresh national collapse. Is that true, Raji? Nigerian, they said the grind experienced some fresh shutdown, and since morning, they said the distribution of electricity has completely collapsed. Raji, let's hear from you. What's the situation report?
It is such a sad situation. When PACN, when the discos came out with their Band A and hiking tariffs, I said before, and I'm saying it again, there is no way anybody in this country, whichever band you may be, can be assured or guaranteed more than 12-hour regular power every day. If they do it for 2 days, they can't do it on the third day. And therefore, they are raising tariffs is just like extortion, because they themselves are saying that they are bringing a service level agreement. Obviously, they don't understand what it meant by service level agreement. A service level agreement guarantees you a certain number of hours per day where you have guaranteed power. Anytime they breach that guarantee, they have to resort to the previous tariff. It appears no disco can sustain, because our national grid is not stable. Our national grid, if our national grid supplies us power for 2 days consistently, on the third day it will suffer a zonto dance. Yes.
but something was mentioned in the service level agreement, as I understand. They said a minimum of 20 hours per day. And it was mentioned that does not mean they can keep to it, but at least something was mentioned, 20 hours a day. From what you are saying, it's impossible. It's impossible.
It is impossible for them to supply you 12 hours a day consistently for 1 week without the so they cannot even fulfill their own. There's already a willing buyer, willing seller arrangement that guarantees the willing buyer at least 12 hours a day of power. It has never been fulfilled. It has only been fulfilled on the buyer side, who has been paying the extra charges. It has never been fulfilled. Our national grid is under threat. What we can do is to decentralize it.
Yeah. So the story there now is it has broken down, and we hope they fix this. Instead of talking of increase in the tariff, they should fix all gadgets and appliances and everything. Then they can now talk of increase in tariff. Gentlemen, let's go on again. Let's go on to this one that will close up the story.
Can I just ask a question?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, how is Abia State's electricity? So how is that going? Does anybody know? Is it what's
the geometric power system in Abia mapped out a certain area in Aba for which they are dedicating their mini grid, and that is what we should be doing across the country. Wherever there's a GENCO, let that GENCO have its own mini grid, so that it can supply power to a mapped up area in that vicinity.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Raji.
Like
gentlemen, let's go out with this one. Sorry, we focus more on some Nigerian stories because a lot is coming out there. There's these videos that have been going around. Raji, you're in a good position to tell us what's happening. There's this thing we've been saying about the Republic of the Yoruba Nation. A woman, first of all, gave a national broadcast, stating and clearly declaring that the Yoruba people
couldn't have been the national broadcast.
Yes.
The Nyam head was just sitting in one corner and reading a script.
No, but she's made the broadcast, and a lot of people are following that. Now she said,
which people? No.
Nation is 55.
Massive Mark, please let's get the facts straight. I am a Yoruba person, and I am an advocate of a federalist state where the Yoruba nation will have its own enclave and be able to, just like we had in the Western region, where we have to be in full control of our resources. And I want it for every nationality in the country. But it's not the way that these yam heads are going about it.
Anyway,
as a matter of fact,
you call them yam head, but they did some
essentially because they are not the true Yoruba nationalist organization. They are not.
Anyway, George, were you following that whole thing?
I was following it. But the funny thing is that she claims to be the wife of our ex leader.
As a matter of fact, that is even controversial because of Abiola said that all his children, because he was so all his children have to undergo a DNA. All his children, apart from the children of Kudi and Simbi, all the other wives, all the children have to go, and none of these Onitiri's children pass DNA test.
Raji, let's not go there. That is an internal issue. It's a household.
It is not.
No. It's an internal issue, please. What I'm saying is, let's say on the subject here. The subject is that this woman came out and was claiming that Oduduwa, they want to claim, their own republic, and that is what we are talking about here. Whether she's in Nigeria or somewhere else, that's a treasonable offense that she's committing. So now what we need to do is to talk about what should Nigeria do as a nation when people are, outside and agitating internally and bringing disruption and chaos among the citizenry. We need to really talk about that and encourage the government to seek redress from international countries when people are just taking refuge, like, Simon Ekpa and this lady now, and they're causing all kinds of havoc in Nigeria. Yes. They should be allowed to be repatriated back to Nigeria and face the law, because this is a treasonable offense. We should not allow that to happen. And that's the reason why I just want to, let's stay with the, focus on this, because this is part of the problem. Look at
I'm focused. Now,
hold tight.
I'm holding tight.
Okay. They went to the government house with matches, some guns and everything.
It's not government house.
Okay, whatever they went.
It's not government house. It's the secretariat.
Can I please finish what I'm saying, please? Thank you.
You said government house, but they didn't go to government house. They went to the secretariat.
There was a gathering of
government
officials, and they had weapons. So if things did not pan out the way it
did, guns and cutlasses.
Okay, so people could have died. So this is some of the things that we need to really face, because people.
Some of them died.
Okay, well, some of their own people died. They're supposed to have been dead because
misguided
offense. They came out with weapons.
Misguided yam heads.
Okay, guys, so I think we'll shift this discussion to Wednesday. It's a serious thing. Like
sorry, let me just one.
Okay, go ahead. 1 minute, please, because our time is up.
I want to say that that is not realistic in terms of. I understand what George said. It would be nice if it were possible.
Yeah,
but it's not realistic, because first of all, you don't have repatriation treaty with these countries. And also repatriation is only done when there's a two-sided interest, bilateral interest, yeah, to do so. And also if they seek political asylum is considered based on international law. And last but not the least is that they can be used as geopolitical tools of control by the host country on the nation that is being destabilized.
Guys,
so
thank you very much, Godwin.
Yeah,
thank you, George. George, this is a serious topic for us to really address. And we're coming on Wednesday to talk about it because
it is embarrassing to Yoruba people,
to the Yoruba tribe. It's and we should not play with it.
Yoruba is not a tribe; it's a nationality.
Oh, good. So that's why we should address it. So we'll come back on Wednesday, guys. Viewers, this is it. Between the lines, we've done our thing. Thank you, Yema Benson from Turkey. Thank you, Fiona from London. Thank you, Olayinka Raji from Lagos, and Dr. Ibe from Russia. Our great big man, Sir George from Toronto, Canada. So we'll come again Wednesday. Now, guys, be here Wednesday. It's going to be hot because somebody is also telling me he's coming to put those words out. You all know who I'm talking about. Okay, until we come again, have a beautiful evening.
Have a beautiful